Hello everyone, so today we're going to be talking about whether to go Seraph or Baleful on both the Fire Gunner and the Shadow Gunner. So let's talk about the Shadow Gunner first, because I'm most familiar with the Shadow Gunner. So I personally am going Baleful. The main reason I'm going Baleful is because as a Shadow Gunner, or as a gunner in general, you want to be able to deal as much damage as possible. So if we look at the Baleful effects over here, so first of all, at Baleful stage 12, we get 13% critical rate, 19.9% critical damage, and we get a 210% increase in attack power, resets cooldown of all skills after 10 stacks, and dark shot damage increased by 10%. So this is actually really good. Why? Because as the Shadow Gunner, your main objective in a party is to deal tons and tons of damage. And that's basically your only goal. That's your only job, is to deal tons of damage. So what you want is you want Dark Shot, which is your right mouse button, to do as much damage as possible, since that is your main source of damage as a Shadow Gunner. Under certain conditions, then you go into light speed, such as you have blue buff, you have your tab is off cooldown, you have soul burn. Under these certain conditions, you go into light speed. But other than these certain conditions, the rest of the time, you're just auto-attacking. You're just using Dark Shot. So since you're using Dark Shot at least 85% or 90% of the time, you want that damage to be increased as much as possible. That's why you stick with Baleful. And then what I personally am going for is right after Baleful, I'm going straight to Dawnforge. And I'm going to go all the way up to Dawnforge 6 and then switch over to Raven. The main reason I'm doing this is because material-wise and cost-wise, it's just cheaper. Regarding the math and everything, I have not done the math, so don't quote me on this, but I've watched a couple YouTubers, Evil Do Us Harm and Greg, and they all said that going Dawnforge into Raven is cheaper than going straight Raven 1 all the way to Raven 6. So that's it for the Shadow. There's no reason to go Seraph, because if you go Seraph, the only thing is Moonshine, cooldown decreased by 30%, and you get HP recovery, which is pretty useless. You don't need that. You shouldn't be in harm's way, and if you do take damage, your regular Dark Shot has lifesteal already, so you don't need the extra. How much HP do you get? You get 520 HP recovery when hit, which is not much, considering you basically have 5% lifesteal on your damage. So by increasing your damage by 10%, it's giving you more lifesteal than this already. So that's why you don't go Seraph on Shadow build. Alright, so now let's talk about the Fire build. So I need to switch to Flame. Okay, so for the Fire build, it really depends. I recommend still going Baleful, mainly because Quick Shot, it's during your downtime, you're gonna be using Quick Shot when you don't have your burst bullets. Basically, when you don't have your tab ready and you don't have your burst bullets, you're just gonna be spamming your Quick Shot anyway. So I recommend sticking with Baleful. It's just easier on your rotations. However, let's say you use a macro. If you use a macro, then it's arguable, it's debatable that you could go Seraph into Riftwalker. The main reason is because Firefall cooldown decreased by 30%. When you use Firefall, which is your C skill, you have unlimited burst bullets. So you can spam about 3 burst bullets, I think. If you have lower ping, you might be able to spam more, I'm not sure. But the whole theory behind going Riftwalker is if you have a macro, you want to wait until every time your C is up, you want to use it instantly, and then you want to spam your burst bullets. That way it's more of a guarantee, so you're not sitting there gambling on hoping that you detect the enemy's weakness to proc to get your burst bullets. It's less RNG and it's more consistent damage. However, to be perfectly honest, if you want consistent damage, you should just go to the Shadow build. The main strength of the Fire build is the burst potential and that insane spike of burst damage, really. But, Seraph to Riftwalker is debatable. However, For most people, I just highly recommend you to just stick with Baleful into Dawnforge into Raven. As always, you know, Baleful because you want your quick shot damage increased by 10%. And if you're not using a macro, it's just more fun. You're shooting, and then when, you know, detect weakness procs, you actually have to do something. So there's that. Okay, so I hope this video helps you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
What can I say except you're welcome for the heals, the boosts,